It's 11:59 at Radio Free America, and this is Uncle Sam with music and the truth until dawn. Right now, I got a few words for some of our brothers and sisters in the occupied zone. The chair is against the wall. The chair is against the wall. John has a long mustache. John has a long mustache. It's 12 o'clock, Americans, another day closer to victory. And for all of you out there on or behind the lines, this is your song.
All right, welcome to our Friday the 13th edition of the Daily Gun Show. We come to you live every day at noon Eastern, that's 9 a.m. Pacific, for about an hour. We do 3 gun-related topics, different topics every day. We pick those topics with the audience on Monday first thing. So if you'd like to help to point the show in the direction you're interested in, then give us some suggestions on Mondays, or send them in email anytime, dailygunshow@gmail.com. We run the show live on YouTube, and we simulcast it over at gunchannels.com, where we are watching the live comments that come in from people that join us live. We appreciate everybody that watches the show live and comments. It keeps the show organic and keeps the audience a part of the show. It's a big part of what we're doing. Let's see, we take the audio and the best of and post it over on iTunes as a podcast. So we appreciate everybody that takes the time, who listens to the show now or in the future, to leave us comments, to give us some feedback, to use the likes and shares and subscribe to our channels using those social media platforms on our channels and our shows, as well as others. It helps our shows and others to be recommended to other listeners, and that's part of our goal. So we do appreciate the people that take the time to help us out with that. We have hosts, but only 2 of us decided to show up today. So we got Jimmy running the place out of Phoenix. Thanks for joining.
Yeah, no problem. I guess it's hard to find good help nowadays,
Canadians, what are you gonna do? No one shows up every, 400 or so out of every 450 shows. So, and Dano ain't around anymore, so it's just us. So yeah, no Bob. So let's see, we're on episode 419, and it is, how can that be?
Well, we had to skip that one day because of that whole Vegas stuff, and that kind of threw off the shows.
The counts?
Yeah. Yeah. Today should be 420 if we didn't have that show.
Oh, all right. So I don't know what we're gonna do. We should probably renumber them or something. That's weird now. So anyway, Friday we're gonna be doing gun tech and gun biz. So for the gun tech, we'll be talking about refinishing old guns. For the gun biz, we're gonna be talking about promoting your local gun shop, and for the alternative gun topic, renouncing your NRA membership. So we try to do things like a gun shop of the day and a gun of the day and all these other things on a daily basis. And it looks like if we talk long enough, Bob might actually show up. So usually before we start into the daily stuff, we take a break at the beginning to see if anything happened overnight worth talking about.
Actually, I mean, I usually don't like to, I guess, for lack of better words, toot my own horn, but the early watch chat was actually pretty good and somewhat insightful today. Probably a lot of the same echo chamber stuff going on, not news-wise, but, probably a lot of information that some people already out there know, but it was a pretty good chat today. Last night, there was a few good chats going on, too. I was able to catch the end of Clover Tax. And that's about it for me.
Everybody, sorry it's a little late there. I didn't catch anything last night either.
Cut something. All right, well, so I guess we'll dig into the show. So it's Friday's episode, so gun tech, refinishing old guns. So Cerakote them, right? The high-tech coating of the future.
Yeah. Cerakote or bust. But I mean, seriously though, I've used that Birchwood Casey. That stuff is pretty good. Not necessarily the rebluing, but little touch-ups here and there and stuff like that. I don't know.
I've cold blued a couple of guns. It works pretty good. You gotta take your time with it.
Oh yeah.
hot bluing's the way to go. That's class.
Yeah, so we went up to Flagstaff for a long time building AKs, and Chris had bluing tanks. So it's a big, kind of messy, like poisonous procedure basically. But you just boil a bunch of salt water with other acids or something in it, and you have some boiling water, and then you have some boiling water with soap in it, and you kind of cycle the sandblasted, naked metal through the cleaner to make sure it's clean, and then through some water to make sure it's good, not there's no cleaner. Then you dip it in the salts, hot salts, and that's bluing. And depending on how long you have it in there and the mixture of salts that you're using, I guess, and then the metals that are make up the gun, they'll all react and they have basically controlled rust, and you kind of rust the outside with that process until it's the color, consistency, thickness, whatever you want to call it, that you want, and then you kind of run it through the rinse and clean it, and take it out, wipe it down, and oil it. And that's the best way to go, because you're basically taking, for us it was like the AKs or a rifle or something, you take all the wood and stuff off of it, all the other types of metals off of it, and you're basically dropping the frame and the barrel into the solutions, and it's super consistent. It's a giant, it looks like a piece of rain gutter, right, that's boiling. So you've got the fluid in there is consistent, where I've done the cold bluing, which is same thing except not boiling water, right, cold, and with the little applicator like what Jimmy is talking about with those kits. A friend of mine bought a lever action really cheap, and we bought one of those kits for like $13 at a gun show, and it came with the strip, which works really well. Just strips the blue right off and turns it to metal, and then you apply the blue backcut on, but very splotchy. Like, it was very difficult to get that consistent. Once you have a few layers on there, it's a little easier, but it's always going to be kind of wavy and fadey, especially when you apply it. You're going to know where you've got light spots and darker spots compared to the cold blue or the hot bluing. But unless you've got a gunsmith who does a lot of bluing so that they're running those tanks quite a bit, it's a big pain in the butt to get them going and to just deal with them. So if you got a gunsmith who's doing it like part-time, they're usually going to charge quite a bit more than, like I say, somebody who's just got a tank going 24/7, and then they'll charge very little usually to dunk something in there because they're so familiar with it and they've got the tanks going all the time.
Yeah, my local gunsmith used to do it, but he would do it like once a year. He'd do bluing for people.
Yeah, because in other words, buy all the stuff, get everything going, and then do it all in a giant batch. And I'm sure he would do it twice a year if there was enough call for it.
Yep. Yeah. So it's no fun hot bluing, but cold bluing's easy and it's not bad. It can look pretty good.
I mean, it's not difficult at all. It's just really, it's like baking Easter eggs or something. You just stick the gun in the stuff for a while. But the difficulty or the annoying part is all the process and the keeping the vats when they're not boiling. Just keeping them around is, takes up real estate. You have to take a portion of your shop or a portion of your outside area, and it's usually pretty filthy.
Yeah, definitely. It's
Parkerizing is basically the same process, but with different materials, right? Different chemicals.
I think so, yeah.
Just elaborate. You go through a bunch of boiling tanks and just a different process. I haven't actually parked. I've only, as I was bluing, people were telling me what parking, how it was similar.
Well, parkerizing, isn't that more kind of for like a weather resistant type of thing?
I think it's just for color. Bluing is a little shinier. Park is a little matte. I think they're about the same as far as their like weather resistance or their resistance to the elements. They're basically just both surface not applications, but they're changing the surface of the metal. So they're not coating it. They don't take any dimensional difference, and that's another reason why a lot of times builders and stuff will park in blue, because there's no dimensional change. And then as opposed to like Cerakoting or some of the others, they literally add a layer of paint. So if you had no tolerance before, you add a bunch of paint there. Now you can't even fit those parts back together. So that you don't have that issue with bluing and parking. But I think Park just makes it a little like matte. You know, it's not shiny, a little grayer. But I suspect the color is again due to the chemicals, whatever recipe you're using.
Yeah, I mean, the really amazing part about any kind of bluing is it's actually a coating of rust.
Yeah. And then that's why you got to keep oiling it. So once it's oiled a bit, I mean, it's not rusty, but it can rust. It's definitely not a rust preventative. Yeah, they're pretty much all doing the math, and this is supposed to be episode number 420 and not episode 419. So something messed up here. Did we not do a show one day?
Oh, that was the day we did that 8-hour one about the Vegas thing.
Okay. Well, I'm going to say we should probably just count that as a show number, even though it was on a different channel. Because, yeah, it'll drive everybody nuts having it off. And plus, I'll never be able to remember nothing if we are off by one day.
We'll go back and renumber that, yeah. It's only 1 week threw us off, so it's not going to be that hard.
So Ponry's saying that CN Arsenal's Gunsmith did a really good video on inexpensive rust bluing, including the solution used by the guy who makes it. That's one of those things too. We're talking about gun shows. Bluing is, I don't know what the hell, but there's like must be different recipes for the cold blue, because you'll go to different regions of the country. At least my experience, you go to different parts of the country and there's like their version of cold blue and everybody likes it. So there's the guy selling it, and then there'll be, if he's not at the show, there'll be other people selling it. So some of them work pretty good. I definitely have seen there's a little bottle, a little clear bottle. It looks like somebody's making it in their garage of cold blue out here that a lot of the shops will offer because it works so well. And I suspect most of the shops are using it to do their touch-ups and stuff. That it works so much better than that stuff. What was the name of that brand? I bought the same brand you did.
The Burst Casey?
Yeah, the one that's in like, you know, pretty much all stores. It's either that or the Hopes or whatever. Well, Hopies.
Yeah.
So, yeah, this like local brand or whatever, local brew is quite a bit better as far as being easier to apply and not be blotchy. So I don't know if they just screw with the water or something so that they add more solution so that the stuff inside of it, you know, can get around more, or, you know, sometimes, I don't know what it is chemically, but it does seem to work a little bit better. Maybe it's just the applicator. When they don't give you the little cotton swab thing on a wire, you end up applying it with a towel or something. Maybe that's just that physically applying it differently, you don't get the splotchiness. But cold blue is super good for fixing guns, especially AKs. You got a bunch of blued AKs, and then you know, however they were originally blued, you get them in a safe next to each other. They start jabbing each other with charging handles, and now you got the, you know, places to touch up all over the place. And the little cold blues, really any kind, will come in and work really good for that. I guess if you're walking around with a gun, hunting, I've had some issues where, you know, you might want to go and reapply some blue to a revolver or something, the part of a revolver that sticks out of the holster if you're walking through a bunch of sharp or spiny, you know, vegetation, cactuses and vines and shit. All right, well, so I guess it's dead air. So I think we've solved it. You've got one option: bluing and parkerizing. If there's other stuff to talk about on refinishing old guns, though, it probably is. Then we encourage you to start a conversation up someplace, and then invite people in on it and have that conversation. So we will move on to the gun biz, promoting your local gun shop. It's something we're all pretty passionate about. But before we dig into it, we'd like to take a break between the first and second segment of the show each day to feature one of the members over at Gun Channels. We are all members of Gun Channels. We built the place a while back. It's on the 15th of November. It'll be our 5th. We'll be going into our 5th year. It'll be our 4th anniversary. So we like to feature a member over there each day. And for the last bit here, we're going through the members that we met up with on the Gun Show Loophole tour, this last leg of the tour. and we had gone through Edge and No, and then Pink, and then Dano yesterday, right? And let's see, after Dano, I think it would be, I guess, are we going to count Military Arms Channel? I don't think he's ever stepped foot on gun channels or anything, but he's probably the next person I met who people would know. And that was on my way over to visit with Smeggy in Detroit. So I'm going to say Military Arms Channel today, just because he's in the news right lately with the whole NRA support slash non-support slash support again. So if you're watching this channel and you're not YouTube centric and you don't pay a lot of attention to what's going on YouTube or Facebook, I think he's pretty big on Facebook too. Military Arms Channel's a channel on YouTube that's been around for quite a while, and Tim did some 9-to-5 job and kind of started the YouTube channel as a way to, the way he tells it, at least last time as I remember the way he tells it, he enjoyed firearms and collecting and talking about them, but he and sharing that information that he's got, but he just wasn't satisfied with some of the stuff that people were putting out there. So he started to do his own, and in the flavor that he appreciated, which was, I think, pretty good production value, and then straight about the gun, not about a bunch of extra fluff. So obviously that's, I think, a recipe that a lot of people like, just to get down and talk about the gun and do it in a concise way. I think he does a pretty good job. Obviously, it's been very successful for him. And then he, I think, in a lot of ways, led the way, the initial push to be aware that there's problems with being too centric on YouTube, too focused on YouTube as the way to deliver information out there. So he started the Full 30 among a couple of other people, and so I think that shows right away that he was already paying attention to that years ago. So although he doesn't really hang out on gun channels ever, I suspect he's probably an advocate for people out there communicating and having gun-related stuff out there. So we'll call him an honorary member for the time being, and that's our member of the day.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure that all of us have checked out his videos and stuff. I mean, he's got a lot of good information out there.
Yeah, he's a real dude. I've met him a bunch of times now, even back before when my channel was way bigger than his. He was one of the guys that started out, just doing it for the love of doing it, and really to contribute his piece to the file. And I suspect in the beginning, I don't want to speak for anybody, but I suspect in the beginning when Nothing Fancy was the dominant one, and then I was pretty big, and there wasn't a lot of movement, there wasn't a lot of potential, and there was a lot of potential on the rest of YouTube. We all kind of just figured gun stuff would always just be little fiddle, like there was never going to be a big percentage of gun stuff on YouTube, or that they would never get big. There was just no one had already broken through any kind of ceiling other than maybe FPS Russia, and very few people back then considered them a gun channel or anything. So anyway, I think Tim started doing it without any real what would that be, like ambition that it was going to get to where it is, but he was definitely capable and willing to take the ride and not just be successful, but also be successful in a leadership way, to not only build his channel in a way that was example for others, to do something that wasn't 100% focused on buying something, but just being nerdy and interested in stuff. And then again, professionally, he does a good job. He puts good money into cameras and making the things produced well and everything. And I know he, like I say, he's a real dude. He's taken me in and shown me the behind the scenes and stuff, and they devote quite a bit of resources to making their videos good. So again, I've met lots of people that are in the biz, I guess, of making YouTube videos, and they go from me, where I just carry around my cell phone, to the highest end. And Tim's not at the highest end or nothing, but he's also not just spending money to spend money, but he is, paying attention that he has a good overall product he's proud of, and that's kind of cool. So anyway, and then like I say, he's done a pretty good leadership role in bringing in some of the other channels that who knows which way they would have gone, but with his direction and with the Full 30 and everything, they've all been able to succeed a lot, really succeed. A lot of them have been able to succeed a lot. But so I guess we were talking about if he's real. He's he's whatever you see on the videos is what I've ever seen in real life when there's no cameras on. We're just BS and he's showing me around or we're talking at shot or something. And not everybody's like that. Yankees like that. He's like that. Jaeger's like that. And Haas is like that. Well, basically the people that I've hung around with are like that. The people that are not like that, I don't tend to hang around. But I definitely met a few of them. So it's unique that Tim stays that way and being super successful. It's real easy to just go with whatever's works, whatever direction is making the most money.
Well,
I've
never met him, but he sure seems like a nice guy when you talk to him online or when you see him online.
Yeah, he doesn't really hang out at shot anymore like he used to, so I don't know if you're going to get much opportunity. All right, so then we'll get into promoting your local gun shop. So do we even care about this? Local gun shops, come on. We got big box stores, we got online. Do we even need local gun shops anymore? Seriously, the olden days.
Yeah, I don't know. They're pretty important, man. Those are the ones that will usually stick by us in times of distress. Usually the ones that will keep their doors open. Won't fall victim to some of the things that big box stores may fall victim to. That's the regular guys. Those are the ones that started off one day being shooters, just like us, being advocates, activists, maybe, who knows, but being into the guns and then starting up their own stores. So doing something that they love and helping out the gun community. I don't see a reason not to, but I would rather go to them before I would take any discounts online or take any big box sale items or whatever. Saving money is one thing, and I'm a big proponent of that, but I'm also a big proponent of the Second Amendment and people that support it.
Well, money's power, right? So save your money when you can, and then use your money where it's effective. So I save my money so that I can pour it into the things that are important to me. So I'll save it on a little computer thing or on some stamp or some piece of paper or whatever, and then pour the money into the stuff that matters, that needs to stick around.
Yeah.
So promoting your shop, I think you can, if we're making content, it's easy enough to make a little plug for them, stick it at the end of your video, even mention it during your video, being aware that your local shops are a resource. So maybe using them as examples of stuff or whatever and pointing people to them to follow up on something, or if you're mentioning a class or something, mention their number or something like that. I mean, it's as simple as including them in your content sometimes. That's for the human being side of it. Now, when you go to do your description of your video and you want to make your description as accurate as possible so that it works with the platform you're putting the content on, and it's useful for the person who's reading it as well as the machines that are trying to filter and sort it all. In the description there, of course, you want to link to their website.
Oh, I think we lost you there for a second, but yeah, it's definitely important to have those links in the description and stuff like that to get the name out there. Not 100% sure where he was going with it, but I do know that it's very important to support your guys. Just the last recent purchase that I made, I think I probably could have saved maybe $50 going online, but I'd just go out, and then on top of not only having the brick and mortar there, but those are also people that you can go and build a relationship with. I mean, I guess that there's certain workers, if you deal with online customer service or over the phone customer service, that you may be able to build a rapport with, but it's still nothing like walking into a joint and talking to the people face to face. Then remember, walking in, hey Jimmy, and then you say hey back and know them on a first name basis. I don't think there's any substitute for that.
Yeah, very true. Yeah, it's good to have that contact, I guess, with your local shop.
Yeah, exactly. All right, yeah, G-Webs, we lost you right where you were saying it was important to put their name in the description or their information in the description.
I guess I was just saying for the robots that file everything or that sort everything out, so that you're giving them more presence on the internet that way too. So saying stuff in your podcast is one thing, or mentioning them or having them as like a slide or something at the end of your video is all good for the human beings. But then remember, the robots out there need to figure out what we're trying to do too. And every time we mention a local gun shop in text on our whatever platform it is, gun channels, Facebook, Instagram, that's another presence, it's another instance of their name out there. So when the Google or whatever is trying to figure out the best recommendation for the next guy who's looking for a gun shop in that area, you're actually helping your gun shop to be ranked, to be decided, for that shop to be the one that they recommend. And it's good practice because we need it now for the urging people to contact their senators to fight the measures that are going through now, the bills that are going through now. So all those times, all those months, all those weeks that we're not fighting against some kind of infringement, then we can be practicing, honing our skills. We go to the range to practice. We can practice promoting our local gun shops as a way to keep channels open and keep our skills sharp.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so there's that. How about buying a T-shirt, walking around with one of their T-shirts on, especially if they got T-shirts. If they got hats, same thing. If they got patches, putting one on your range bag or something. Stickers. I don't know about sticking one on your car, but maybe on your range bot, like your rifle case or something. Show some pride in the store.
Yeah, most definitely.
How about just doing the stuff like we always talk about, buying a thing of donuts or a pizza, a couple of pizzas, I guess, and then dragging them into the shop and setting them down on the counter and saying thanks for being there. It may not be, the best for every shop. Some shops might not even want it at all. But depending on the shop, if you were to do that and then post on Instagram or Facebook or something that's timely and local, like, hey, I'm bringing donuts by the gun shop. Go take your lunch break over there or something, or I'm bringing pizza over for my lunch break. Meet you at the local shop. Maybe arrange it with them, make sure it's okay, but depending on what kind of relationship you have with them, some shops be great with that.
Yeah, you might want to check. Some shops might be a little shocked that all of a sudden, 20 or 30 people come in and, so where's the pizza?
Right, well, it's not appropriate everywhere, but I've been to plenty of shops now where they'll have like a table with magazines and chairs and stuff, or maybe a waiting area for people to assemble for a class or whatever, wife or something to sit there while their husband's shopping or something. And if you were to bring in a thing of donuts and set them down and just put a thing on Instagram or Facebook, I guess probably the best thing for that, or one of those local versions of Facebook, or one of the forums. Some of the state forums are all about, everybody in the state who's into guns chatting and whatnot. So anyway, there's that. And then maybe it's something as simple like I got a giant stack of NRA magazines I get at SHOT Show, or maybe I go to a gun show and there's a big stack of magazines. I'm always a hoarder, so I'll grab some. So I've got this big stack of magazines that I'm going to bring to the gun show and just have on the table for people to take for free. So maybe it's just taking a big stack of your old accumulated magazines, ripping your return address part off of it, taking it to the shop and stacking it, in a corner, or where they have the business cards, or maybe they already have a place established where they have grab a free magazine pile. And then again, posting on Instagram and Facebook and whatever your local forum is, and on gun channels. I just dropped a bunch of magazines off at so-and-so gun shop. Go by and grab some and buy something.
Yeah, that's an excellent idea.
Then we got shooting in local matches. I think especially if your shop has a T-shirt or something. But even if they don't, if you're going to be shooting in some local matches or something, find out if they can do something. Maybe it's as simple as going to somebody who can make a one-off patch or a iron-on or something, or like a one-off T-shirt. Just make one T-shirt or something with like their logo on it and maybe a couple of logos of the brands you're using. So you can run around the competition looking like a fancy sponsored shooter or something. Maybe they'll help you pay for the shirt, I mean, a shirt like that can't cost 25, 30 bucks. So if it's something you don't really want to pay for, but you'd be happy to do it for them, bring it up. You never know. They do things a lot of times like sponsor little leagues or hay rides or police, fundraisers and stuff. So shops are often looking for interesting ways to advertise, and one guy out there running around with their t-shirt with their logo on it, it's not an expensive way to advertise. And maybe it'll encourage other people to do it for them too. And before you know it, they have a shooting team. And then they thank you so much for starting their shooting team. You get free ammo for life. That happens all the time.
Oh yeah, for sure. You think about it, it's so hard for gun shops to get advertising today. I mean, like my local one puts up billboards. So imagine what that costs. I guess they're on radio stations too, but still they're spending money on advertising. So.
Oh yeah. At least the ones that are still in business. All right, so I haven't seen any suggestions come through. Mr. Knives keeps posting the petition for whitehouse.gov to not pass HR 309099, which is the stupid anything makes a gun shoot faster bill. So even though the petitions don't have any consequence, there's no effect that has to happen from a petition. It is an effort that we can do to voice our opinion in front of a bunch of people. It looks like it needs 77,000 more signatures by November 11th, so it's got a little time to reach its goal of 100,000. So there's already 22,000 people that have signed it. It's pretty simple to deal with. I guess I could screen share it here. You just click on the link that.
And obviously the internet gods don't want them to put that out.
Yeah, or it was the wrong link.
They keep kicking me out of here. So the link is right here, and we'll copy that over to the YouTube side. It's already in the gun channel side, but I'll drop it again. And then when you go there, it's going to have the petition, and then over here is where you fill out your info, and then you can unclick that box so they won't send you a bunch of other alerts and stuff, and just put your name and email address in there. And so like I said, there's no consequence, but it is a way for us to show in front of a bunch of people on the actual White House website there that this is important to us. And if that passes, if a petition like this goes up and gets 20,000 signatures ever, like in a month or whatever it is, then that does say something. And if it goes up and it gets its 100,000 signatures in just a moment or two, and it goes way past 100,000, that says something also. So whether or not there's a requirement for the White House to do anything about these petitions, again, it's being done in the public eye, so it costs nothing other than some time. So I'd recommend that you give that a try.
Yeah, and also, like you're kind of going along with what you're saying, I mean, if they do end up, if anybody with any matter, I guess, politically wise, looks at that thing, they can see, oh, this bill or this petition, so many such people signed this, they must really care about it, or, oh, they don't give a crap about this one, so we'll just, slide that through.
So once you fill out your info, they're going to get this thing that says you're almost done, email verification. So they're going to use that email to then, you're going to get an email, you'll click on it, it'll say, okay, you've signed the petition. So that's the way they can tell if it's valid or not. So it's not even citizens or anything, it's just people with email addresses. So it is, give it what it's worth, but it's an effort. It's something that we can do publicly.
Well, it still shows shows people that it is on our radar.
Yeah,
and,
we're watching it.
Yeah, and come voting time, we'll remember who supported it.
It's getting a little chilly in here, guys, I think.
Well, I was just going to
got a windbreaker right here laying over this chair. I'll just put it on.
I like that one. You can hear the ricochet.
Oh, yeah.
You guys know the sound means. Crack them knuckles, whip out them keyboards. Actually, don't whip out them keyboards because you probably won't need them unless you got to turn on or go to your screen or something like that. Because today, well, get ready for the daily quiz. But today we are going to do a guess that gun picture. Let's get this screen over here. Well, first let's screen share. That probably would help. So get your eyes on them screens so you can eventually have your eyes on a prize.
Oh, well said.
So let me oh yeah, let me pull up this picture here. That weird sight.
So this is their clue. They have to guess what the gun is.
They have the whole picture of the gun. Buttstock, forend, sights, pistol grip. That's not an A2.
M16A1? No.
Nope. Think exotic, guys. This is a guess that gun. The sight.
Armalite M16? No. AR-10? No.
Nope.
Look where the charging handle is.
Look at that buttstock. Look at the handguard. Look at the sight. Grip.
Nothing on the YouTube side at all. I think everybody's just given up.
Huh?
Hard. It's too hard, Jimmy.
Hey, I figured this was like an easy one from yesterday's Fritz Mann.
A 12 gauge? No.
I'm guessing probably not.
There are 12 gauge M16 looking things, but they have a different injection port and stuff.
Ours 187, I think, got it. M16 CQ Norinco.
Yep. Ding, 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 ding. What was that, Scars?
Scars 1, yeah.
Yeah, Scars. Cool. You got it. This is a Chinese AR-15 Norinco Type CQ.
And believe it or not, they're actually pretty decent guns.
Of course, Bob's going to be an advocate for Chinese.
And
well, I heard when I was looking them up, I read something about them like being sold in Canada or something like that at one point in time, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, you guys up here got them, and yeah, they're dirt cheap and they're darn near bulletproof.
So who won this? It's on the YouTube side?
Yeah, on YouTube, Scars.
That was before Angry?
Yep.
All right, so we're going to have you go to that link. That's going to take you to our website, dailygunshow.com/pop-quiz. You can fill out the information there. And we are so close to having the most fabulous prizes. We're so close. So close.
And Scars 187, you know what that makes you? That makes you the tactical hotshot of the day.
Hey, Bob, I hate to bug you. I know that takes a lot out of you, but they were asking on the Gun Channel side if Angry just got Buttercup. So I think we need to do something special for Angry.
Okay. Angry. It's our show, so suck it up, Buttercup.
Nice. Congrats, Scars, and congrats, Angry. Good, very good runner-up.
Yep. Good job, you guys. That was a tough one. I mean, I'm surprised somebody got it, actually.
Only reason I could tell when I see it is from them weird sights, the weird carry handle that they have, and then the front sight.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they're pretty damn close.
Yeah.
Yeah, Chinese do good copies. But yeah, there's a few guys up here who have used them, and they've put 100,000 rounds through them, no problem. So pretty impressive, actually.
You just step on a cat?
Yeah, kind of.
So is that taking us into alternate gun topics? Or
I think so.
Do that. So let's see. Our third topic on Fridays is alternate gun topics, and today it is renouncing NRE membership. So we've definitely had a bunch of going back and forths in the the news here. So this isn't anything new, though. People have been basically doing that since, I guess, the October Revolt back in 1976. So, you know, whatever is old is new again. They say if you don't know your history, you're doomed to repeat it. So we're living through a cycle here that has repeated before. And there's a call from lots of people out there to renounce your memberships, that this is the last straw, that whatever they, you know, that whatever they're thinking, that, you know, this is not pro-gun anymore. Then there's lots of people, I think Yeager said, chess and checkers. Like, they're playing chess and you're thinking of checkers here. So where do we take this one?
I'm really torn. You know, I really am. I'm mad at them. I want to just, you know, tell them to go pound sand. But on the other hand, it's, you know, they're still one of the biggest gun advocate groups. I'd like to see where they're going with it. I mean, I can see some scenarios where what they're doing is going to be to our advantage, but I mean, I can also see some scenarios where they're just caving, you know. So it's, I don't know. I don't know whether it's, maybe it's time to just sit back and watch what's going to happen first before we jump on them, or, you know, jump off ship, or maybe, you know, just stay on board. And it's just a strange situation.
Yeah, I know my initial reaction. I wanted to kind of, you know, just get out of there. I had just actually, it was funny too, that week before, no, 2 weeks before, I had just renewed my membership for the year. But I don't know, man. I'm kind of thinking right now that I'm going to stay in. I've sent them already a few different emails, pretty much along the lines of, what are you doing? Or I hope that there's like a plan behind it. I know they're not going to tell me. I'm not nobody special. I'm just like a regular member. But I mean, I don't know. They've gotten a lot of angry emails, and I'm hoping maybe we could change things when the vote comes up. I know that if I just quit right now, you can't change anything from the outside. Got to kind of do it within. So, and I'm just remaining hopeful with it. But I'm definitely not happy with how they're going about things. I'm definitely not happy about how they just willy-nilly release statements, written statements, spoken statements. Definitely not happy at all. But I haven't ripped up my card yet, and I haven't, you know, revoked my own membership or renounced them.
So I know that Matt, Military Arms Channel, the guy we talked about earlier, so I remember that they did a thing on YouTube, or on Instagram at least. I watch his YouTubes, and big an NRA thing with a line through it, right? And, oh, this is the last straw. Now I'm, you know, renouncing my membership and all support. And then a couple of days later, he posted one that said they're reversing their decision. We got to work with them now because they listened to us. So does anybody have any more like insight on that? Does he do videos that extrapolate on that, or is it just the Instagram that he's doing it?
No, I'm actually looking it up now, because when I was looking at news earlier in the day, I saw something related to that about how the NRA is now going against all gun control, but I didn't read anything about it, and I kind of just skipped past it because I figured it was going to be about the bump stop thing again.
So let's take the stupid Vegas asshole out of this, because
yeah, exactly, yeah,
it's just a dick who did some shit. He's a murderer, and now everybody's jumping off the handles about stuff, and this is all coming to a head. But this is nothing new. The NRA distrust, the NRA apprehension, the NRA love, and the NRA like fanship, you know, that's always been an element. So is it good to have an NRA where Hillary, right, no matter what her actual knowledge or what her actual situation is, she uses the NRA as that punching bag? Like, the NRA is the bad guy, the NRA is the boogeyman. So I understand that not, you know, nobody's trying to be politically correct or anything necessarily, but on the other hand, is it useful to have something that is just given such like multiple hatred, like from multiple different groups, hate the NRA for all different kind of reasons. Is it useful to have something like that so that we've got this one group that they can just hate, or does it give them some fake boogeyman that doesn't represent really any of us? That, you know, the things that they hate about the NRA and their perception of the NRA have nothing to do with any of us, and we know that the NRA is just a bunch of us. So if they hate the NRA because of Nazis and skinheads, and we know that, well, 5 million members, there must be a Nazi or skinhead in there, but it by no way, you know, is looking for that. There's nothing that condones that. If any of us knew that somebody next to us was one, we'd smash them. You know, it's not like we're aware that it must be a part of it, but only because there's certain people with our driver's licenses that are going to be whatever, you know, extreme parts of the segments of the population, like Nazis and skinheads and shit. There's going to be people that are left-handed that are Nazis and skinheads. I mean, there's just always going to be some amount of people that are assholes in a group, any group of people. So we look at it and go, yeah, the NRA is mostly good people and then a couple of assholes. They look at it and go, the NRA is like a place for the scoundrels and assholes to all congregate and hang out and somehow communicate. So what they think of the NRA and what the NRA is are two different things. Is it beneficial for us to continue that? Or I've been wondering this last session of NRA discussion, because it's a little bit of NRA hatred and a little bit of NRA fandom, and then, you know, seeing that collide again in front of everybody. If we didn't have an NRA, if there was just a bunch of different groups and they were all out there doing their thing, you know, to whatever extent, successfully and unsuccessfully, would it be tougher for Hillary Clinton to say all gun owners are, you know, duped by the NRA and the NRA is funded by the big gun companies? Because it's tough to say the 17 groups that are all working together to fight this are all paid by the big gun companies. You know what I mean? There's just not that dynamic anymore. There's no boogeyman. There's no corporate, you know, front that the NRA is, you know, supporting corporate gun interests is what one of the things that they like to keep going.
Well, I mean, one of the things is like everybody, you know, the NRA is paying all this money to the Republicans, and, you know, and that's just, I think Weinstein gave more money to the Democrats than the whole NRA did to the Republicans, you know, and Weinstein was a evil rapist in Hollywood, one man, and we're talking an organization representing 5 million, you know, legal gun owners, and, you know, how can they say that, oh, like the Republicans are in the NRA's pocket because of the money they give to them, when they're getting more money than that from one person who's just a evil piece of shit, you know, some Hollywood producer type.
Well, because there's no scrutiny to the, like you say, the rest of the picture, but then also it's because there is an NRA. So again, if there wasn't one thing that they think all gun owners belong to, what's he going to say?
Yeah, they have a group to actually generalize us all into. That's, I guess.
Yeah, and the NRA it's like guns. It's as big as they need it to be when they need it to be. It's as insignificant as they need it to be whenever they need it to be. And since they're anybody who you're preaching to, you know, your own choir isn't going to question you. You know, they don't even bother to think about the logical disconnect when 1 minute the NRA is the ultimate power boogeyman paying all the Republicans and being fed by the gun industry. And a minute later, when they need it to be, the gun industry's almost dead, and they just need a couple of more laws, and then they'll cut off, you know, its last breath, and it'll be done, and we'll have peace in the land. You know, so they definitely don't go with logic and numbers and whatnot. They're more of the plea to the mass appeal or whatever. But again, does having the NRA help that or feed that, or is it? I don't know. I hesitate to stop my membership for the same reasons that you guys are saying. You can't change them from the outside. However, as a life member, I get one vote, so it requires a lot of people working from the inside, just like any organization. So that means that, you know, as much effort as we're putting into keep getting awareness out there about the specific fight that we have right now, the 533, whatever it is. The one that's, you know, the anything that makes a gun shoot faster bill.
$39.99.
$39.99. While we have that one, that's an imminent threat, we have universal background checks that are always lurking in the background. We've now got some other things that are, coming up that have been around before. But I don't know. Then we have to give ourselves the additional challenge of then having a conversation and a debate and the back and forth with just NRA members. And of course, you can't do that with just NRA members. A bunch of people aren't even members of the NRA are going to chime in on those conversations and make them more than likely less effective. So now we have to, have these conversations amongst, and amongst ourselves on whether or not, the plus and advantages of being in the NRA, and if, how we're going to vote together to change the NRA. It seems like a lot of work, but I don't know. It's something that's been around longest period. It is the oldest of all of our pro-gun organizations. So is there some traditional reason why we'd want to keep it around? Just because, again, it's one of our longest running institutions.
But you can remember, like, they were founded to fight the British trying to put restrictive gun laws on the American people when they were still British citizens. Like, that's an awful long run to just want to throw them in the trash over what might be a misstep or what might be some kind of long-term game plan. We're not involved in the planning, unfortunately.
Yeah, I don't know if it's their place, but I don't know, to do long-term planning without telling their people. But again, how do you tell your people without telling the adversaries?
Well, I mean, you want to talk like a long-term thing, look at the anti-gunners. I guess you could say the left or the Democrats or whatever you want to place it in, whatever category you want to place them into. They've played the long game here. They've taken little itty-bitty cuts, little ones, in the 30s, in the 60s, in the 80s, in the 90s, and they've done all these little tiny cuts. Our apathy has grown and grown, and meh, whatever. They're gonna take it. It's gonna sunset. We'll get it back. Meh. And their long-term plan so far, sad to say, has worked. They've gotten everything they wanted through, quote, compromise. And I don't know. I like the idea of having an NRA, an entity that can be political and for us. But then again, how much for us are they too is the question. So I mean, it's kind of it's hard, man. It's a hard question. I'm kind of torn in the middle, but I'm still, like I was saying earlier, I'm just going to be optimistic and hope things can change from the outside. But how long can we stay optimistic for? They always, that old saying, poop in one hand, hope in the other.
I'll go with the hand of hope.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Now, I may have misspoke when I went about the dates of when NRA started and stuff like that, but I always thought they had actually started before America became America. So I don't know. That might not be right. When did they start? What was their original start date? Was it before or after the rebellion?
It was in 1871. So I think it was after.
Yeah, so it was after the rebellion. Yeah.
I mean, it was after the Civil War or the War of 1812. It was after some war that the generals were like, we don't shoot that good. We need to shoot better. Let's see. According to Time Magazine, which we all know and love because of their awesome, truthful reporting on everything. The original call for organization came from an article by Colonel William C. Church in 1871, issue of the Army-Navy Journal. In it, he cited the success of British National's Rifle Association, confusingly named Wimbledon Riflery Tournament Range. He thought that they had a good club, and he believed that the National Guard ought to organize some sort of a club. But since they wouldn't, he would turn to private enterprise for sake of speed. And it should encourage rifle shooting on a scientific basis. The National Guard is today too slow in getting about this reform. Private enterprise must take up the matter and push it into life. The subject has already been presented to several enterprising officers and ex-officers in the National Guard, and they have been found enthusiastic in the matter. It only requires hearty cooperation and an actual start to make the enterprise successful. Let us have our Rifle Practice Association also on a Wimbledon on American principles. So yeah, it was copied off of the British Wimbledon-esque tournaments. And looks like the National Rifle Association held its first tournament in 1873. So they started in 1871. A couple of years later, they had their first tournament. And in 1940, there were more civilian rifle clubs in the U.S. than there were golf clubs. By 1903, the Congress recognized the NRA and appropriated funds to help stage a bigger, broader tournament. The National Rifle and Pistol matches became the War Department's baby. Today, through the National Board for the Promotion of Rifle Practice, the War Department spends $500,000 a year to conduct the Camp Perry matches, sending to the tournament picked marksmen from each of the branches of service, civilian and National Guard teams representing each state. So looks like the NRA was started to keep the skills up of the troops in the 1870s as civilians or at home, and based off the British thing. And then once they got it up and going, a few years later in 1940, the government decided to start Camp Perry. They spend $500,000 on Camp Perry every year.
So I was about 100 years off. Well, getting older, memory slipping. But yeah, like they have been around for an awfully long time, and they do have a very large membership. We're
about a month away from their anniversary. It's in November.
Yeah. So I don't know. I'm just gonna kind of sit back and wait and see what happens, rather than just have that knee-jerk reaction.
Yeah, it's hard to say. If we all sit around and wait, then the knee-jerks win, because I suspect this legislation is happening, at least the stupid rate of fire bill thing is happening now because they want to get it out before they figure out that the guy didn't even use them in that hotel, that he had them but didn't use them. And it'll be real tough to get legislation passed for something that is not of any consequence, really. So if we were to sit around and wait for the smoke to clear and to get a rational idea of what's happened, 2020 hindsight, then we're living in the past and we're not participating in what's happening. So we don't get when we're talking about CCW, we go to a range which is fancy and nice and it's air conditioned and we don't get any lead in our noses and we wear ear and eye protection. We shoot in one direction, so we're completely at ease with the other people on the range who are also practicing. We practice at a target that, unless there's air conditioning moving the target around, is sitting there dead still, and we have all the time in the world to put rounds on it. We feel real proud of ourselves when we get all those little holes touching each other, and we go home satisfied that we are perfectly capable of defending ourselves. Then we find out that you really learn, that you're going to need to defend yourself when you wake up and you're seeing stars, and it turns out your mind comes back that you just got, you're in the parking lot of some store, walking back from an ATM, and by the time you're coming clear, somebody's either has shot you or is running away or, has got a knife in your face or something. So, the altercation is going to be drastically different than the scenario we practice for. So we can feel real comfortable waiting around to see what all this stuff happens and then have really good insight on what should have been done or ways that it could have been handled better. Or we can just be part of what's happening in the world and get out there and make mistakes, but hopefully learn from them and learn how to work with each other so that when things like this are thrust upon us and we figure out we're in the midst of it, while we're in the midst of it, we're better able to, with each other's help, trudge right through and get to where this isn't uncomfortable and new, but instead the norm and super comfortable. And then the adversaries, the people who start this shit, are going to figure out that we're old hats and we're used to this, and this is where we thrive. And they'll very quickly quit getting us into these situations. And then we'll all get lazy, and then we'll have to learn all this shit again. That's just the cycle of life, right? And the consequence of being ever vigilant for our rights. Sometimes it's comfortable and sometimes it's not. And we have to learn to get off our ass and do things when it's tough and fast and not always going to be correct. But sometimes action immediately is better than calculated, theory afterwards. That's all just theory, because you didn't have a chance to actually do it. Anyway, so I guess that's a little preaching and took us over the hour. We're trying to get this done in an hour. I was typing in some topics for future shows. That was our alternative gun topic today. Everyone's going to have to size up and decide if it's time to become a member of the NRA or to cancel your membership. Maybe you cancel your membership with the NRA to prove a point and then join again. I don't know. That'll take us to the gun shop of the day. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, no. Yeah, quick. I know we're over a little bit, but my only fear is that people that are unhappy with the NRA and everybody that got outraged and just quit right away, and then there's the other people that are trying to vote from the inside, and everybody else in the middle, either everybody quit, stayed on, or doesn't care. And I'm just hoping that the ones that stayed on aren't stuck with the people that don't care. I don't know if that makes a lot of sense, but that's kind of one of my fears. Is that like 5 of us are going to vote and everybody else is going to be like, meh.
No, you're right. There's going to be a lot of people that just aren't paying attention. That's why they didn't leave or didn't join right now. All right, so we do a gun shop every day. One of the reasons we started doing this show on a daily basis is that we could feature a gun shop every day. I drove around 9,000 miles in the last 36 days, got a bunch of pictures and some videos of the different shops. What I have not had time to do is edit all of them into videos, but when I had to replace the transmission up in Chicago, I did have some downtime and was able to produce a couple of them. So here's another in that series. This is a place called Texas Guns. When I went to San Antonio, Edge 4006, who does a show tonight, will be met up with me and took me around, took the day off work, and we drove around and looked at gun shops, some of his favorites. And this is a really cool shop, so I'll let the video do the talking. And I don't know if we've done this one on the show or not, but we're not really going in order of the shops we've seen on the tour, but we're going through the shops we've seen on the tour. We're going to take a look at another gun shop this one's called Texas Guns. It's in San Antonio, Texas. Now it's right next door to Texas Thunder, which is its shooting range. They're both the same facility. So it's both a range and a gun shop. We didn't get to check out the range, though. It's the kind of place where you go into the gun shop, and if you want to use the range, they walk you over. So we didn't want to bother the guy. This is one of my favorite gun shops. It's definitely my favorite type of gun shop. As you can see from the quick video here, there is just stuff everywhere. This shop has been around for many decades, and we talked to the owner a bit, and he said it was cool to take some pictures and some video to let people know about the shop. And as you can see, just in a massive selection, from rifles to pistols to revolvers to semi-autos to black powder to holsters, accessories, big gunsmithing part in the back here. Just a little bit of everything and a lot of all of it. So again, great gun shop. Unfortunately, it sounds like he's getting ready to sell the place, which is always discouraging with a shop that's been around so long like this. But really a pleasure and a treat to be able to check it out. And I'm really thankful that he let us take some video and some pictures to document the kind of shop like this. So this is what it looks like after a shop has had some time to mature and just accumulate a lot of interesting stuff. And it's the kind of shop where I would assume the amount of knowledge is kind of appropriate to the amount of stuff that you see here. So here's another view of that gunsmithing area. And you can see the amount of parts and small items that probably keep just about every type of firearm up and running. I'd be surprised if there was anything they didn't have parts for there. Again, lots of new stuff, plenty of old stuff, and just a real nice guy. The kind of stuff that gives us inspiration to do the tour. So hopefully you enjoyed this quick look. I really encourage you to check out the shop if you're in San Antonio. And if you know of shops like this, please let us know at gunshowloopholetour.com. We have a place there where you can suggest locations. Look forward to more of these. As always, thanks for watching. The guys and gal. Have we done that one before?
Nope, I haven't seen that.
Okay, so yeah, that's our gun shop today, and we're not going to do just our shops every single day or the shops that we did on the tour every single day. We'd blow through them too fast. So ideally, these will be inspiration for people to remember that every day you go into a shop, you got a phone in your pocket. That phone probably has a pretty decent camera. I've got, what is the numbers? Is there any way to calculate the percentage? I went to about 43 gun shops, approximately, if you don't count surplus stores and museums and stuff. And 4 of them out of the 30 days, 40 days. So what is that? 40 shops, 40 days. 4 of them said, get the hell out of here. You can't take any pictures. So if there's even any way to do the math on that, it's like 1 out of 10 days, somebody said no. And then like 1 out of 10 gun shops, somebody said no. So, I mean, they didn't really say get the hell out of here. They just said, no, we have a policy against it or whatever. So like nobody had a fit or anything. You know, the worst that happens is 1 out of 10 times a gun shop is going to go, nah. But most of the time they're going to say, yeah. Occasionally they'll ask you, probably only 2 or 3 times out of 10 do they even ask why. Sometimes they ask why, but very rarely do they even ask why. We're hoping that this is encouragement for you to remember that you got that camera in your pocket, and we keep talking about it on Mondays when we talk about how the internet works. The internet works because a whole bunch of human beings create data and put it on there, and then a whole bunch of other human beings look at that data, and a bunch of robots make sure that it's the best data for those human beings. And by knowing that simple equation or whatever, and then realizing that each of the social media platforms, you know, was built separately, they're not all using the same set of Legos or whatever. So just each one's going to have its own little, finesse. Then learn how to use them. They're all basically the same. They just have their own little tweaks. And once we know how to use this stuff, when we have these discussions about the NRA or about bump stocks or whatever the hell it might be, we're not at a position of disadvantage. We understand not only how these systems work, but we're masters of using them. So one of us is worth 10 of them just using a social media platform. When we're manipulating a social media platform, as someone who's an advocate, we're worth 10 of them, or maybe 100 of them. Or if you can put enough effort and attention into your channel, maybe you're worth thousands of them. So, it's something that you can do out of your living room. Bob's doing it out of his camper, So this isn't something you need to have a bunch of time and investment, just a little bit of knowledge. And we're talking about platforms that are made for 16-year-old girls. So the idea is to encourage people to use all that power that we have the potential to. And the easiest way to do that is just take some pictures of your gun shop. Here's something else I've been doing on the tour. I don't know if you noticed it on Instagram. I'm going to go over onto Instagram and screen share it so that you can see what I'm talking about. But I'll use the map on my phone and let the Google robot create content for me. So if you guys have noticed if you guys have looked at the Instagram stuff, let me go down to shop. This was Texas Guns, right? I think I might have put Texas Guns up here, but it wasn't a good example of what I'm talking about. So I'm going to go to a shop that, where's the shop? Here's a shop right here that was in Grand Prairie, Texas, Shoot Smart. So I took a picture of their guns because I thought that was an interesting way to do their guns. That accidentally went in there. What is going on here? Oh, this is going on to the next picture. So this is a picture of their guns. This is a picture of the front of the store, just because I did that. This is their waiting area and the view into their range to get an idea what their ranges look like. And then this is the couches and stuff. Dano is a big fan of sitting around, so we like to take a picture of that. Also for a range, it gives you a really good idea of like the flavor of that range. They got a thing in here that makes smell, right? So you know that it's not going to stink like a freaking locker room in here. They got a gender neutral bathroom over here, so you're going to be at ease no matter what kind of parts you got to go relieve yourself. They got the ramp there. So just that one picture lets a whole bunch of people know that this is a kind of shop that isn't a little dark corner, you know, a basement. It's all seepy with moss or something that you got to shoot in. They had this nice calendar, so I thought that was pretty clever. I took a picture of it with this bulletin board. You can, again, just see from some of their business around here that they're all about making it easy to read and let people know about their various efforts out there. So, you know, it's giving you some impression of the shop. It's kind of tidy. Looks like you could see business cards over here. So, oops, you can, if you're a business owner or something, it's potentially you can drop off a business card, or if you're looking for a taxidermist or a trainer or a gunsmith or something, maybe that's going to be a resource for you. So this is just that picture is helping somebody out who might be interested in any of that kind of stuff. Again, Dano, super critical for him that there's coffee available. And I think it's clever when they use these little machines, these little coffee robots that just spit out whatever kind of coffee you want. And then they got all the various snacks and whatnot. Again, let somebody know what, you know, what kind of range time they're going to have. They happen to have these computers sitting there. I thought that was clever, so I took a picture of them, but this is what I was getting at. I put the thing into my Google, and I tell the robot to take me there, and then once it gets there, the robot's super happy, and it wants to be tickled, so it puts this screen up so that you have to tickle it, and then before I do, I take a screenshot of it, and then Google creates content for me. They give me the name of the place, they give me a picture of the front of the place, they give me the address, and then that stuff's not consequential, but basically I can shove this in because it's just a screen share. I can just shove this into the thing when I'm creating this little slideshow in Instagram. So now, boom, everybody can see what the place looks like and the address. And the only thing that can make it better is if they put a phone number on here instead of the stupid stuff. But anyway, that's what I was getting at is you can do little stuff like this, and that's hopefully helping out that range. I don't know how many people saw this. 100-something people saw this. Maybe some of them live in the Fort Worth area, and maybe some of them were looking for a place to shoot, and this gave them some idea. And cost me nothing. In fact, it created content for me. It might make me money in the long run, make me a bigger audience, and then that audience, you know, does something to participate in a project or something. So who knows? But really, it's that's what the whole show is about, and that's what the segment where we talk about gun shops is all about. So I guess this one got a little bit into how to use the internet or behind the scenes, but that's what this show's all about, is getting people hyped up and part of it.
Yep, got to be involved.
And that's the easy way to be involved, and it's a fun way. And then when you do that, I mean, they probably, I think this one, oh yeah, here, let's go over and pat ourselves on the back, right? So we drove all around, we posted it up here. If you click on the main picture on the regular computer, on the phone, I mean, you know, it'll show you all the sites that I linked to. I linked to Shoot Smart. So then they came along and liked it probably, and then said, thanks for the shout out, glad you came by. And I was able to say, you know, something back to them. So you can create a conversation, you can start a conversation with somebody like that. So definitely worth your effort.
No, for sure. Definitely job though.
So if a guy vehicle wraps taxis, could it be called a taxidermist? That's from Raphael. You can like text all size to Raphael.
What do we want to do next? Gun of the day?
Do we even have a gun of the day?
Yes, we do. It is the Rossi 12-gauge shotgun pistol.
This is a good one. That's another Canadian gun, eh?
Yep. Yeah, it's outrageous.
Hang on, I'm pulling up a picture of it right now.
Yeah. I seen a video of it the other day and just went, oh yeah, that's got to be gun of the day. It's like, I think, a 6-inch barrel 12-gauge shotgun pistol.
I don't even think it's 6. Is it 6 inches? I thought it was like 4.5 or something. It might be.
Yeah, I don't know. It's awfully short. It's awfully mean to shoot. Guy was shooting it with 3-inch magnums, and it was just brutal.
So let me raise that up. Yeah, that is definitely a beastly gun to shoot.
Yeah.
So this is the exact one that you're talking about right here.
Yep, right there. Yeah. Now, yeah, that's a serious handgun.
Oh, and that was the YouTube channel I first seen it on too, the Canadian Gun Vault.
Yeah. Yeah, they do some pretty good videos actually. But yeah, definitely something you wanna you don't want to consider getting.
It's the California compliant one. It's got a
Oh.
thumb stock. Now, is this, I don't know, I mean, I know it works differently in Canada than out here, but is this something that you would have to get a tax on since it's a pistol?
Well, no, it's just you have to have a restricted license, so the same kind of license you'd have if you wanted to own a handgun.
Oh, okay.
It's not, you know, it's a range toy basically is what it becomes. Once you've got a pistol, they're range toys. That's all you can do with them. But yeah, still, it's just a regular pistol here. It just happens to be a 12 gauge.
I'm wondering what this would be in, well, I don't know. I haven't seen one of these ever, so I don't know if would we have to pay a tax on that here in America? I don't know.
Or would it be any other weapon, or you know?
Well, any other weapon, that's only what, $5, I think.
Yeah. So
like a little homemade one. Wow.
but yeah, for a many, like, and the thing is, like in Canada, you could not take it and cut a shotgun down to make it one of those. It wouldn't be legal then, right? But
Right.
because it's manufactured that way, it just becomes just a manufactured pistol.
You're talking about if that could be made here?
Yes. And what would that be considered? Would that be considered a pistol, an AOW?
If it had a smooth bore, then it would be registered because it would be a short shotgun. But if it had a rifled barrel, it would be a Derringer,
Oh, okay.
I would think.
Yeah, that's what I would think too. But if you're right, I didn't think about the smooth bore. You're right. That would make it an AOW.
Yeah, but if you put a rifle barrel on it, that would just be a pistol, wouldn't it?
I think it would just be a handgun.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's pretty cool.
Oh yeah.
Well, they make like 410 Derringers. I don't know if they don't make 12 gauge because a 12 gauge rifle, is that 50 cal?
Oh, it's bigger than 50 cal, so that would probably be considered a destructive weapon then.
And it would be a destructive device. But if they made it in like 20 or 410, I imagine 20 must be too big also. Otherwise, they would make them. So 410 must be the biggest we can make here without it being a destructive device then.
Now, what you could probably do is if it was black powder, like a single shot black powder, that would probably be legal.
Yep, then it's not a firearm. In most states, occasionally a state might say it's still not legal then.
But definitely it was something I saw and thought, that makes a good gun of the day. Just total outrageousness, right? I mean, if you watch a video of the guy shooting it, it does not look pleasant. Maybe
No, I don't think he fires a few rounds out of it.
Oh yeah, and he's shaking his hand the whole time in between.
With those little stubby rounds, though, that'd be great.
Yeah, and you can carry a ship out of those little rounds.
Yeah, just have a big sack of them, and then that thing for just shooting at stuff. That'd be fun. I don't think I'd put that dot on there.
Be a good snake gun.
I don't know.
Imagine pulling that out as your backup or something.
I lived in Arizona since the 90s, the early 90s. And I wish I had a buck for every time somebody, I wish I had, if you gave me a buck for every time somebody said, that'd be a good snake gun, and then a buck for every time I seen a snake, like I'd make more money with the snake gun.
Hey, you know what I used as a snake gun once before? A Glock 30. It worked great.
Got like 10 snakes in all of Arizona since the 90s, so it's not like we got snakes jumping out at us all the time or nothing. And I'd open it. Anyhow, I don't know about snake gun, but it'd be a fun gun to shoot.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, a couple rounds out of.
Well, yeah, I think like he was using some kind of hot hand loads. I think if you were just shooting like a field load, like a target load, it probably wouldn't be that unpleasant.
Yeah. That's
All right,
all
so-
right.
Today is Friday, and we are going to wrap it up at some point, and we're going to do an after show today. So I don't know if we're still going to do that or not, but we were planning on doing an after show on Fridays, and we figured we'd start it this week. So we're kind of running late now. Anyway, just talking about topics or whatever. We're trying to keep the show at an hour, but I guess we should keep going. So is there anything else on that tiny little shotgun?
No, they're just a cool gun.
Did you say how much they cost?
No, I actually don't think I even heard what it was worth.
I don't even know if those things are available for purchase.
Typical. Bob always pointing at stuff that's like unobtainable or expensive. All right, so we got a movie. It's a pretty good one. We try to feature a movie every day, something that's gun related, something you might not have seen in a while, or if you're a youngin', something you ain't seen yet. So today it is Harley Davidson and Marlboro Man.
Oh yeah, I love this movie.
This is the 90s, and it was okay. It was back when they still did special effects by like blowing stuff up and using cables, right? Not like animated fake stuff.
No, we lost Jimmy again. Yeah, it was, and it was just it was a really interesting concept too, because you had these two guys. You know, one guy's kind of, he's all, you know, dresses nice and he rides a nice Harley and everything else, and then the other guy's just, you know, ragged ass cowboy. Really, he rides a raggedy old Kawasaki. He's, you know, boots are taped together with duct tape. So yeah, very interesting. Yeah, really. Yeah, it was excellent. I mean, it had some really neat guns in it. You know, one guy with, I don't know what he had, but it was some ridiculous revolver that, you know, was like $4 every time you pull the trigger.
So you're saying that the guy, Harley Davidson guy, dressed nice. So the guy that basically wore like motorcycle leathers the whole time?
Yeah, but they were nice and clean and, you know, expensive.
All right.
Those Harley leathers are a lot of money.
Yeah, I think the running thing on this one, if I remember, was that Don Johnson's boots were falling apart the whole time, and he wasn't going to buy a new pair of boots or something.
Yeah, they were his lucky boots or something.
And yeah, his motorcycle was all shitty, and the other dudes, did the other dude keep his motorcycle? I don't remember anymore.
Oh yeah, I think so. Yeah, and it was all
fancy and nicer. So were they brothers or just friends?
I think they were just friends.
Yeah, just friends.
So I like this one because it was an okay movie or whatever. The bad guys had trench coats that were bulletproof, so that was ridiculous. And you also couldn't shoot them in the head, I guess, because they had a bulletproof trench coat on. And then the bad guys using Styrogs, which is a good bad guy gun. But then it was also cool because they filmed it in the Tucson. So they filmed it in the graveyard, the airplane graveyard. And they always make it look like you can just walk up into the airplane graveyard. Like, oh, look, there's a bunch of airplanes. Let's just go hang out in them.
Yeah, no, you can't.
You can always just drive a motorcycle or a car right up to the airplane graveyard. That part's always fun too.
So what was the gun that John Johnson used? It wasn't a Desert Eagle. It was a revolver, right?
Don Johnson had a pistol, and Harley Davidson had a revolver. So it was like backwards. The cowboy guy had a semi, and the biker guy had a revolver, I think. Every picture here, Harley Davidson has a revolver. Marlboro Man guy has either this little lever gun or something, or in this other picture, he's got a semi. Oh no, it is a Desert Eagle.
Oh, okay.
At least in this picture, it's a Desert Eagle.
Oh,
And
I
he's
thought
got-
sure it was a revolver.
Now, Don Johnson had the Desert Eagle.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to watch it again.
Anyway, they end up having a shootout in the graveyard. That part's fun. And they go to couple of the bars in Tucson. So I can almost remember, I think I moved to Tucson when this had been filmed there recently. So I had heard, listened to stories of people who had recently been, either kicked out of the bar because they didn't look like right for the part, or you know what I mean, like they were dealing with the movie having just being made in town. For a long time there, Tucson was like a place to make movies before they figured out they can make movies in other countries cheaper than the United States. And there's like a whole bunch of people here that are extras in all kinds of movies. So that's like, you know, once you start hanging out and talking to people, there's people that have been in lots and lots of movies because so many movies have been filmed here. And they, you know, when you're an actor or whatever, they just tell you, hey, there's a movie coming. We need people that look like this or can do that, you know, to show up here at this day. And then they'll all show up and be in that movie. So, and then of course, when they film it in a place like a biker bar, then, you know, they clear the place out and they redecorate and they do stuff. Like they filmed one of the Star Trek movies over at the missile silo, and they scooped it all up and made it into a Star Trek movie for filming, and then they put it all back to normal for the museum again, and they let them leave one decal on there. So there's one decal on the Titan II missile over there that's from the Star Trek movie, just as like a souvenir of the movie or whatever.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So anyway, this was a cool movie because they filmed it here, and I can remember when I first moved here, because I was just being able to drink when I moved out here. So going into bars and stuff, it was like, you know, every once in a while you'd hear a story about how they filmed Harley Davidson Marlboro Man at that bar, and you know, it was cool or it was lame. But I think anyway, unrealistic movie. It was like super far-fetched. Everything about it was kind of dumb. It was like a typical 90s movie, like Running Man or something, except they decided to put Harley Davidson and Marlboro Man in it.
Yeah, I was just looking it up too. That's a 357 Desert Eagle. It's not even the real one.
Don Johnson.
I'll give it a thumbs up. I think that it's one of them classic, corny, old movies that, you know, just take a look at, check it out. I think it was entertaining. I don't know how well it would hold up nowadays.
I'm giving it one thumb because it was okay. And as soon as there was better movies, it's not like one I ever owned or anything.
Yeah, but it's worth a watch if you stumble across it, I guess.
Yeah, I'll give it. Well, because it's got motorcycles in it too, so I'm going to give it 2 thumbs up. Also, I thought the Kevlar trench coats were hilarious because, I mean, you know, you get hit in the leg with a little thin layer of Kevlar, you're not going to be walking.
Yeah, please. Like it ain't going to break your shin. Like, no, I had a piece of Kevlar duster in front of it. What are you talking about? And he's shooting a 357 out of a semi-auto at him. And what was the other guy's revolver?
455.
I'm pretty sure he had a Blackhawk.
Yeah. So it was ridiculous. And they never got shot in the head either. Like, oh, I won't shoot for the head. This guy's wearing a duster. I'm going to keep shooting at the body.
Yeah, I know. It's like, oh, you guys have both got guns that are reasonably accurate, you know.
I think they were on some kind of a clear blue, glow-in-the-dark drug that made them, you know, like unstoppable, or they were cracked out. They didn't care or something. Wasn't that the point of the movie? Selling the new drug?
You know, I don't even remember.
Yeah, they were supposed to be like high off of that shit, and they high off of it, and they had the trench coats too, so they're supposed to be like invincible.
Right. It was. I think they were. This movie, they're robbing a bank, but then it turns out to be a bunch of drugs instead of money. They thought it was going to be money, and then the bad guys are after them, and the good guys are after them because they're bad guys. They're stealing money, but then they stole this. I think it's the same drugs from RoboCop. It's like clear blue, glow in the dark, glow stick drugs. Same drugs that's in glow sticks, kids.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah, you'd think that there should be like the moms against using glow sticks as drugs in movies because all our kids are injecting glow stick juice into their veins and stuff.
Yeah, seriously.
You'd be able to tell if you were on glow sticks because your eyes glow, like in some other movies.
And you can tell if it's an alien drug, it's green glow stick. And if it's like man-made, blue.
That's true. If it's man-made, you're right.
And you're bulletproof.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, okay, the drug keeps you from feeling any pain. It still doesn't make your leg work when it's broken.
Oh, now they're talking about Marlboro Bucks. So that's valid. Do you guys ever save Marlboro Bucks? Or did you?
I did, yeah.
I know a guy who got a pool table, but it was because he owned a bar and everybody would throw their bucks in. But I think that was the concept, right? Like people would combine their bucks to do stuff like the pool tables and that. Best thing I ever got was a Zippo. What about you guys?
Yeah, I got a lighter. I tried to save up for the jacket, and that's actually when I stopped saving Marlboro Bucks altogether because I stopped.
What about Camel Bucks? That's actually what I had as a Camel Zippo.
Yeah,
It was-
we never
I
had
never- I never did Camel.
I do have from Marlboro Bucks, but I think I got it at like a used fishing supply store. I didn't get it with Marlboro Bucks, but it's like a soft cooler. It's almost the size of like a standard cooler. It's a really big kind of, what would you call that? A duffel bag or whatever, like a gym bag, but made out of like the soft cooler material. So it's like not really, it's like rubbery. It's really, really heavy duty vinyl. And then it's got like a layer of stuff to keep the cold in or the heat in or whatever. Almost like the thing they put pizza in to deliver pizzas.
Yep.
So it's soft, but it's a cooler. And then it's got a zippered lid and it's red. It's Marlboro red and it says Marlboro on it. And then it has another little thing on top and a couple little like pockets on the side. And it's super solid. It was really, really, really good bag. And I still use it as my tackle box because it's clean and it's red, so I never lose it. And it's soft. So depending on how much crap I have in there, it just sort of becomes bigger or smaller and super strong. Then I have a smaller version of that because it was so well made. I found another one that I use as a first aid kit because it's bright red like that. And yeah, I mean, I don't know if they were made in China or what, but they certainly didn't want their Marlboro stuff to be like fall apart and shitty. Like they put some effort into their Marlboro stuff. I was impressed. I think we had all kinds of ashtrays and little knickknacks and shit too, though. I'd have to think about it. I think I have a cigar box or something with some of my Marlboro stuff in it.
Oh yeah, my grandparents had crap upon crap with Marlboro on it. I can't even start to make a list of it.
Oh yeah,
I had more Camel stuff from Camel Bucks because I smoked Camels back then. But I knew people that smoked Marlboros. Of course, there's always more people that smoke Marlboros, and very few people cared about their bucks, so they would save them and give them to you. So I knew a couple of people that had pretty neat collections of stuff.
Well, that was, I think, when they first started that they were stopping advertising on TV and stuff for cigarettes. So the companies were trying to find anything that, any way to advertise, and that was a simple way to do it. Plus it got your brand loyalty because people collected them.
The Camel bike chain and gear ashtray. I don't remember that, but that would have been cool. I have a Camel pool table ashtray. So it's an ashtray, but it looks like a little pool table. It's all Camel. That's pretty handy. And I keep ammo and stuff in that. So I think we're going to use the Camel Bucks and Marlboro Miles thing, and we'll make gun channels.
Gun channels bucks?
No, because we should probably call them like gun channels coin, G coin, get coin, something like that.
No. No.
G coin. Call it like G coin or something. But we do have it. Like, let's say gun channels is an off the shelf software. Like I didn't want to try writing code from scratch for something of this scale. I wanted it to be useful, right, and scalable depending on how many people join in. So anyway, because it's off the shelf, there are plugins for it. And we needed a plugin for something back in the day. And it came along with badges and credits. So we played with the badges quite a bit, but we don't really play with credits. And I think I set up the credits originally. It's a share type of thing. So let's say somebody's on gun channels and they do a good job of something. You can throw some credits at them. And it's just an accumulation of stars kind of thing. They don't have any actual value. They're just, a thing, a widget to be able to accumulate. And it's just a way to say thanks to people or to share. Or maybe I guess you could barter with somebody and say, hey, I'll give you 10,000 credits if you give me a shout out on your show, maybe something like that. Anyway, we could, it's simple enough, I think, to go in there and give out some G coin for, how long you've been a member of gun channels or something. So something like Marlboro Bucks, member for 12 months, you get 12,000 G bits or whatever we're calling them, G coins.
Oh,
Or
sure.
like you know how they did it with the Marlboro Bucks and the Camel Cash and all that. It was like by the pack you got this or whatever. And so like maybe you should do something about like the more live shows you participate in, you get a G point or G coin or whatever. I don't know.
Okay, you volunteering to keep track of all that?
No, I'm just saying maybe.
And just think, it could be like Bitcoin, right? And one day you'll have all these thousands of G coins, and it turns the G coins will all of a sudden be worth $1,000 a piece.
Well, here, so I've been muted, but yeah, it's already set up. So every time you load a picture into Gun Channels, you're getting 25 credits. Every time you make a new photo album, you get 25. Every time you post a classified or something in 24-hour gun show, you get 150, and so forth. So you're going to get, according to this schedule, stuff for participating. Now, it can't tell when you join a live show. That it would take moderators to go in and just manually add credits. But I think if you go in here and just go under credits by itself, you get a list of everybody's credits.
What?
So I invented the thing, so I'm winning, I guess. But people have already got credits. Now, Bob doesn't have any credits because he doesn't do anything.
I don't do anything.
Bob doesn't do nothing. But like people like Moon and Foos and Dano and No and others are already ranked. See, Bob, what are you doing over there? He just stepped on a duck in disgust.
No, it's the poor dog. I keep rolling my chair over his tail.
Go bad for the ducks in that area. So it looks like a bunch of people that are participating already accumulated a bunch of them. But and then I think it will let you buy them. So you can buy them if you really want to go nuts and support Gun Channels.
Yeah.
But just because it's part of the system or whatever, I had to you had to turn it on. So anyway, maybe we'll take some of that Marlboro Miles Camel Bucks theory and apply it to the Gun Channels. You'll get, instead of getting cancer, you'll get I don't know, gun knowledge.
Yeah.
Gun knowledge. That's it.
All right, so yeah, Bob making weird noises definitely disrupted the gun YouTube side.
Not my fault, man. It's my chair. What can I say? Every chair I own squeaks like that.
All right, so I lost the gun channel site, so I'm looking for it. Anyway, so was that it? Do we have any history today?
I'll go over and look
earlier.
I didn't see anything today.
Looks like in 1792, Washington laid the cornerstone for the White House. Today in 1792. Looks like in 1942, today in 1942, the first of 4 attacks, 2 Japanese battleships sailed down the slot and shell the battlefield on Guadalcanal in an unsuccessful attempt to destroy the American Cactus Air Force. Whatever that is.
Yes, that was a pretty famous little Air Force. It was just mostly Marines were doing the fighting. The Army airplanes actually couldn't get high enough to shoot the bombers down.
So then it says 1943. Today in 1943, Italy declared war on Germany. What's up with that?
After they surrendered to the Americans, then they switched sides.
Oh, okay. So they went from Axis to Ally. I guess
the Americans started supplying them with airplanes, and they went and fought the Germans.
Uh-oh. Oh, no, good. 1983, the Space Shuttle Challenger carrying 7, the largest crew to date, lands safely at Kennedy's in Florida. So Challenger landed today in 1983 with 7 people on board.
Cool.
And then today in 2010, after being underground for a record 69 days, can you imagine that? 69 days. 33 miners trapped in Chile were rescued. So they were in a mine in Chile underground for 70 days.
Oh, I remember that, man. They drilled a small hole down to them first so they could put a hose down so they could give them water and hot coffee and food. And then eventually they dug a very small hole, like not big at all, maybe 20 inches around, and put like a tube type elevator down there and pull these guys out one at a time. Absolutely amazing.
We're going to put down a tube to suck out all your poop and stuff first, and then we'll drop down some coffee and water to y'all. No, let's do that backwards. Let's do that the other way around.
We'll do it the other way around. But yeah, it was quite an amazing feat that they got those guys out. So yeah, that's something. Well, we've got anything else on
Bob's. We can't miss one of Bob's thing. Or no, she was only forget.
Okay. Oh, okay. Hey, Pink Panther's got something out there on YouTube. This day in history, Continental Congress authorizes the first naval force on October 13th, 1775. It is Navy, but it's still history.
I guess so.
Could be worse. Could be Coast Guard.
Nothing wrong with the Coast Guard. All right. So with that, I think we've wrapped up the show. We like to do 3 topics every day. We like to do it within an hour. So we decided to go full 2 hours today, I guess. We did our gun shop. We did a gun of the day. We did a movie. Did a pop quiz. And I think that's about it. It's Friday. So that means after this, if there isn't already, there'll be a lobby posted. I guess we're doing our after chat here in a bit. We'll have to decide, do we do that as a separate show, or do we just continue on? Or do we just say that we've done it since we ran 2 hours today? And then let everybody know that next week we'll do an hour show, which we're working on getting down to. And then we'll be doing an after show on Fridays.
Yeah. Well, how did we run that long?
Chatting for another extra hour. So we'll end it. And then, like I said, there'll be a lobby. If there isn't already one. Usually those guys will have a lobby going where you can just chat, carry on the conversation, start a new topic conversation, or just BS. And there's always room in the schedule now that we've moved our show up to this time slot, or down to this time slot, however you want to look at it. There's plenty of room between now and the prime time shows that happen in the evening. So if you ever thought about creating a new show like Ellis is doing, add them to the schedule. Ask somebody over at Gun Channels. We'll be more than happy to walk you through how to set up a channel. There's actually some tutorials out there on the Gun Website's YouTube channel. There's some on the Gun Channels YouTube channel. They're also spread out around Gun Channels. If you go up and click on some of the resources and stuff, you'll find some tutorials on how to just do basic things like setting up a channel or how to sell something in the 24-hour gun show. But it should be pretty easy to deal with. It's just like very similar to a Facebook or a YouTube or any of those other systems. But if you do have any questions, there's moderators out there. You can ask any of them, and they'll be happy to help you set it up. Otherwise, if you just want to sit back and enjoy some shows, there's the primetime shows tonight will be Clover does a show on Fridays, as well as Edge, who does his show, I think, later. I think, is that how you guys worked it? Are they out there? That Clover's going first? But either way, check them out tonight over on the Gun Channels and on YouTube. And then we'll see you back here on Monday. I guess we should talk about the Saturday shows as well.
Yes.
So you got Travis doing his Caliber Corner on Saturday mornings and Rick doing Rick's Life as I See It in the afternoons on Saturday. And usually somebody will come along and have some lobbies as well. Sundays, you've got Yoder, Texas will post Come and Talk It, which is a syndicated radio show out of Texas. And I think Yankee and Matt do some sort of individual chats. So there's, again, lots of room for that. I don't know if Ellis said he was going to start doing one on Sundays as well, but I think somebody was talking about doing a show on Sundays. So stay tuned to the schedules and stay tuned to the lobby. Stay tuned to the main page of Gun Channels, and all those places will give you a heads up when a new show is starting up. And if you're a moderator over on gun channels, pay attention so they help these guys out and help get the word out about their shows when they're creating new slots. Otherwise, we'll see you back here for early watch, 9:30 a.m. on Monday, right before our show at noon.
All right. Well, I guess we're wrapped up. Just a little bit overtime. Anyway, today's quote, as we always end our shows with a quote, is by Antonio Meloni. Not sure who he is, but it's a quote about guns. Anyway, before we get to that, though, I'd like to remind everybody, please like, share, subscribe. If you can, support us on Patreon. We can use the help.
Oh, wait. Let me insert one other thing in there, too. We're going to be at the Prescott Gun Show this weekend. So if you're in the Prescott area and you're going to the gun show, so come to the table and say hello.
And that is a very cool gun show. And definitely recommend everyone who can get to it. I've been to it. It's a lot of fun. Some really good people there. So, yeah, with that, let's go on to our quote. And our quote today, like I say, Antonio Meloni. The problem is not the availability of guns. It's the availability of morons. And that's quite a true point. So on that note, I'd like to thank everybody for watching and listening. And we'll see you all tomorrow.
Guys and gals of GunWebsites.com encourage you to take a CCW class every year, practice at least once a month, and carry every day. Thanks for watching GunWebsites.com.